In the world of true crime, some stories are told so often, the facts become lost over time. They are twisted into sensational tales of shocking mystery, all designed to get you to click. This could be considered one of those stories. But today, we're gonna stop the guessing. Today, our goal is to uncover the truth. This is the story of the vanishing at Crater Lake. The story of Charles McCullar. In 1975, 19-year-old Charles McCullar, an avid photographer, vanished at Oregon's Crater Lake National Park. For decades, the narrative has been that an unprepared hiker was swallowed whole by the wilderness. But as we dig into the official timeline and evidence, a different, tragic, but far more sensible picture emerges. Charles Chuck McCullar was a young man driven by a clear ambition to photograph America's national parks. He was on a cross-country trip from his home in Virginia. He kept in touch with family, he was focused, and more importantly, he was responsible. Many sensational articles claim that Charles left his friends on January 8, 1975, not to be reported missing until February 1st. This, however, was found to be false. A critical error copied across the internet. The truth is he was staying with a friend in Eugene, Oregon, leaving on January 29, 1975, with a clear plan. Charles was very sensible. He took a Greyhound bus, not his own vehicle, dispelling the myth that he drove an old, beat-down VW camper. His itinerary was tight. He had only planned to be on this trip for 2 days. It was expected to return by January 31st. He told his friend, quote, "If I'm not back by February 1st, call me in." This short, responsible window shows he planned for a quick, specific photography trip, not an extended wilderness survival mission. His last movements were confirmed. On January 30th, 1975, he was seen at Diamond Lake Resort. A park ranger gave a lift to a person matching Charles's exact description and equipment. The orange Everest backpack, the hood, the hiking boots, all of it. The park ranger remembered dropping the person off at the entrance to Crater Lake. Here is where a major question arises. At this time, snow depths were ranging between 2 and 7 feet. Why did this park ranger allow a young man with seemingly only enough items for a day hike to proceed in these dangerous conditions? Now, there's no telling why exactly the park ranger was cool with letting Charles go out into the snow. 2 feet of snow might not seem like a lot, but when it comes to any wilderness situation, you want it to be as dry and as comfortable as possible. The cold air, especially at night, is a hindrance to anybody attempting to camp out in these conditions. So, assuming that Charles was planning on camping out in these conditions, I feel like the park ranger might have noticed this situation and could have been like, "Hey man, maybe you shouldn't do this. I wouldn't recommend doing this XOXO." You know what I'm saying? But you never know what they were thinking. You don't know what they talked about in the car. So this part is still very, very avid mystery. Charles never returned on the 31st. As agreed, his friend waited. On February 1st, 1975, Charles McCullar was officially reported missing. The search began immediately, but faced with a monumental task. A pristine wilderness that had already sealed its secret. The search was intensive to say the least. Planes, ground volunteers, and posters were spread out all around the lake, all looking for Charles. Yet, for nearly 2 years, there was nothing. The snow had done its job perfectly, hiding the ground, minuscule details, and even covering the trees with a mystery from Mother Nature. No tracks, no disturbed ground, no signs of the young man who had simply vanished a few feet from the main road. Now you might be thinking, what is underpacked? How did he not have enough to survive out in the wilderness for a day? What are you bringing in your pack? These are all completely understandable questions. So let's go through it. What did Charles have with him when he set out on this journey? Charles had warm clothes, a knife, a camera, and a backpack. Crucially, he only had a sheet of black plastic for a cover, no proper tent, no sleeping bag, in 7 feet of snow. This gear was dangerously inadequate for an overnight stay. He was gambling on the weather holding, or perhaps on finding a sheltered spot. People have been looking for Charles and they haven't been able to find him. A lot of people are assuming Charles had already been dead. Some people are assuming he's still out there. He's still alive. He's just seeked shelter and he's staying somewhere in the wilderness. Most people are looking for remains. The mystery was still running rampant in the community. But there was a change. Fast forward to October 18th, 1976. Nearly 21 months later, hikers stumbled upon a discovery near the Bybee Creek in a remote section of the park. It was a badly weathered backpack, and most importantly, a set of keys. One of those keys matched a VW, a key Charles was known to possess. This confirmed they had found their missing photographer. Rangers quickly searched the area, finding camping gear, a human skull, a jawbone, and many other debris. Dental records were sent in and confirmed that these were the remains of Charles McCullar. And here is one fact that shuts down a lot of the sensationalist theories. There were no signs of trauma. You will read horrifying details online that his jeans were found unbuttoned, only containing his shin bones, no torso. This is pure speculation, likely fabricated to shock and awe audiences. Official reports, including those sent to the FBI and Senator William L. Scott, mention nothing strange about the remains. We must reject these rumors and focus solely on the evidence. So let's connect the dots. Charles was dropped off at the Crater Lake entrance by the park ranger. He was lightly equipped. On the map, the PCT, or Pacific Crest Trail, runs straight to Bybee Creek from the entrance. It's the most logical route for a person who's trying to navigate quickly. He was an adventurer, yes, that is not disputed. But, as some of the evidence does suggest, he may have been a bit naive. He walked into a battle against 7 feet of snow with only a plastic sheet for protection. The single most likely conclusion is death by exposure. He likely died overnight on the 30th of January 1975, perhaps after getting hopelessly lost or collapsing on the trail. While the McCullar case finds a grounded but tragic explanation, the location of his remains brings up one more eerie mystery. In 2006, the remains of another missing person, Glenn Allen Mackey, were also found near the Bybee Creek. We cannot confirm the exact proximity, but 2 separate fatalities, decades apart, found in the same remote area? This suggests that Bybee Creek may simply be a deadly natural endpoint for those who wander off course in the Crater Lake wilderness, a natural trap. Charles McCullar was not the victim of some unsolvable, horrific crime. He was a victim of his own ambition, underestimating the sheer power of a national park in the dead of winter. His tragic story reminds us that the truth is often far more simple and far more heartbreaking than the sensational stories we are usually told. Now that we're at the end of the video, I just want to know what your thoughts are on the Charles McCullar story. Do you think the park ranger did the right thing, taking this young man out to the entrance of this large trail so he could go photograph in the dead of winter, heavily unequipped? Me personally, I don't think so, but that's no blame to put on the park ranger. If I were working at McDonald's and somebody came in and ordered 50 double quarter pounders and told me that they were going to eat all of them, yeah, it's a health risk, but you're an adult. If that's the decision that you want to make, I can't prevent you from making that decision. That might be a bad analogy, but you get the idea. If you're interested in more of this type of content, if you want more deep dive videos that cut past the sensationalism, make sure you like and subscribe. Drop a comment down below if you have any more video ideas, and I will see you next time.